Good evening. We're going to do a demo test here of some popular lights and just show you what they can do. We have the tried and true trusty Streamlight Protac HLX with the included Streamlight rechargeable 2600 milliamp USB battery. It's the 18650 cell, of course. And this is a classic. A lot of guys have loved it for years. This one certainly has seen a lot of use in my hands, and we're currently lighting it up with a little Streamlight. This is the MicroStream not even the USB. I was going to misspeak on that one, but little 45 lumen wonder light that we're using here. Anyway, we'll get to it. So up close here, the trees right in front, those are only about 15 feet away. And then that far edge that we're reaching with the Streamlight, that's right at about 12 to 14 yards, give or take. I didn't exactly measure it recently. So we're going to turn off the little light here and start with the 2LX on low power. So right there, you got a similar deal. Again, for reference, that's the Streamlight MicroStream at about 45-50 lumens. And give or take 1,000 candela. Yeah, it lights up, but on low power, the Protac 2LX that we have here, we're getting about what we would expect, you know, good usable long run time. Double tap, and now that tree back there, you don't see a whole lot of detail in it, but we're looking right at 108 yards, and we can light it up. We can clearly make out that it's a tree. If we saw glowing eyeballs, then, you know, we'd have a better idea, but you're not going to make out a whole lot of detail with this one. Okay, we're going to ditch the 2LX, and we're going to bump up to a big boy here. This is the Protac HLX 18650. Again, this is a 2600 milliamp USB rechargeable Streamlight branded USB battery, which I believe, if I found correctly, these are made by LG and re-wrapped by Streamlight. So it's on 3-mode setting, low power there, similar to the 2LX with a little bit more candela. We can see the tree out there at distance, and the camera's close to what I see with my eyes, but you're going to notice there's not a whole lot of definition on low. We're gonna, there we go, bump it up to medium. This is give or take the 500, 600 lumen range, I believe. I don't know the details, I have too many lights. But up close, very good, great detail. Very floody, but good enough hotspot you can make out some more detail over there on the tree line. So that tree right there, like I said, is about 108 yards. And then way back over there, we're getting the 200 yard mark, okay? So that tree, 108, 200 to that back line over there. Now, 1, 2, 3, we're at high power. Good candela, still very floody. This is the 1,000 lumen, and we're looking at approximately 11,000 candela, if I remember the box information right. Not 11,000, correction, 27,000 candela. 27 or 37? Anyway, those of you who know the HLX better than I do, we're pointing downrange over there, 108, 107, out to the 200 mark on those trees back there. So if you look right here, that white branch, well, the tree limb, anyway, the main trunk of the tree, that's 200 yards, measured with my Vortex rangefinder. So, good light up close. Yeah, it's kind of bright and hot spotty up front here, but we're going to power that one down, and we're going to jump over here to the E2T, E2D LED Defender Ultra from Surefire. Good little light. The CR123 primaries get annoying because it burns through them fast. This does not have great runtime, but it comes on in high and then low. High is 1,000 lumen at 12.5 on the candela, and then low is 5 lumens with no ID on the candela. We'll give you an idea of that. On high, very bright. This has the TIR reflector in it, and as you can see, it's a pretty broad beam, but it still has decent punch. We're getting view on that tree out there at 108, but when we punch back over here, up here we're getting good, but when we aim back over here at the 200-yard mark, the light is very diffuse and we're not getting a lot of good results out of it. This is definitely an up-close light. I mean, E2D Defender. It creates a wall of light similar to the Max Vision beam. Not quite as spread out, but you get an idea. It's a very floody light with limited punch. Now, this is a popular one for some guys. I never took a strong liking to it. The EDCL2-T, again, CR123s. This thing annoys me. It'll burn through batteries so fast. 1200 lumens at 25,000 candela, I believe. Don't quote me. 5 lumens on low. On high, we definitely are seeing more candela, more punch. Out to the 108-yard mark, it's not doing too bad. Once we reach back over there to the 200-yard mark, it's too floody. It's a very broad beam all the way across my view up close here. Like I said, very floody, very diffuse with some punch to it. But the problem is, okay, it looks great right now. Give it about 5 minutes of runtime and it drops rapidly. And that I don't like. Now, next up here, we have the Cloud Defensive. This is the MCH 2.0, the high candela dual fuel, which I presently have set in the low and high mode. So on low, out there, look at that. We're getting a tight focus beam detail at 108 yards. Out at the 200-yard mark, it's like using one of the other lights that's a little more floody, but we can actually still see the trees out there, which is shocking for low mode. There we go, we're on high. Up close, it washes everything out. That's ridiculous. But check that out, the detail on that tree at 108 yards. I mean, nice hot spot, tight. I consider the flood on this to still be reasonable up close. Out at distance, the flood is useless. Now we're going to punch it back there at the 200-yard mark. And I mean, we have ground detail. We can make out the individual trees over there. We can start making out leaf detail, even on camera here. This is shocking. But this is the new version. Like I said, it's updated. They're claiming 80,000 candela. Most of the reviews I'm finding are demonstrating that it's closer to about 72,000, maybe 74,000, and you get about 5, maybe 10 minutes of that kind of output, and then it does start stepping down for sure. I did run this really hard over the last couple of days, going through the different 30Q cells that I have. What I found is about 87 to 95 minutes of runtime, and basically it shuts down. It kind of gives you a blink of warning and says, nope, we're done. But here I am holding it the whole time it's been on. Definitely warm, but it's not hot or uncomfortable, and I'm punching way out there. I mean, up here, the detail, it's kind of getting washed out on camera, but to the naked eye, I can see every detail, every major branch and trunk in this tree with no problem. And out there at the 200-yard mark, even now, I mean, we're getting close to the first step down, or should be, and it's still running beautifully. I mean, look at that. Just that flood that you get. I say flood, it's a hot spot, but still with some decent flood to it. So, let's run that one down, and now we're going to switch over to the EDC head, MCH right here again, Cloud Defensive. Same setup. I have this one in low. We can make out that tree up there. Not a whole lot of detail. Still rather floody with this one. We're looking at only about 40,000 candela when we bump it over here to high. But check that out. Up close, we get a nice wide viewing area. Very floody on the edges, but still an excellent punchy hotspot out there. And you can see that nice, beautiful cone of light. Definitely a warmer tone compared to the HC. And look at that, even out here, we're getting all the detail. Out to the 200-yard mark, I'm honestly very impressed. This light just arrived today, so I haven't had a lot of time to mess around with it to give an answer on runtime. But that is beautiful. I love the color tone. It actually is a little better on my eyes when it comes to discerning distances, which I'm reasonably good at, because of the way that it interacts on contrast with the various colors of the trees and the tree trunks. But we get a good viewing out there. Very floody, but I can make out enough detail and still see the surrounding areas. Let's do a side-by-side here. So we have the tight hotspot, 108 yards right there, okay? Move it over, that's the EDC, that's the HC. Now at the 200-yard mark, that's the HC right there, and that's the EDC. HC, EDC, and both of these are with brand new, fresh cells doing what they do. Check that out, just blinding, pure, high-power light together. These are beautiful lights, just to be honest. And the HC has obviously been running for a little bit. Side by side, the HC's had a little longer runtime. I'm going to say that in hand for me right now, the EDC is actually running a little hotter. That's in my right hand here. Left hand, here we have the HC. Very clear that I'm shining, look, right there. I'm going to put the HC in the middle of it. And this beam definitely overpowers the EDC with its tighter hotspot. But there you go, 200 yards, 200, and I mean, both of them are going to light it up. If you're worried and you're in doubt, I'm going to say get the EDC. I mean, versatility, and I'm still seeing very clearly anything I would want to out there. If you need or you want to be able to see the fence line and you just want absolute punch through photonic barriers, HC, right here, all the way. The EDC though, I love the color tone on the light. Very warm, but not too warm. Whereas this is a more cooler white and can tend to wash things out a bit so that the greens kind of overlap. Versus here we have a more diffuse but still punchy light with a warmer color. So there you have it. EDC in the right hand, HC in the left hand, and as you can see I'm holding both of them by the bezels. They're definitely warm, don't get me wrong, but the EDC is uncomfortable. The HC, still reasonable, and they both started off here with fresh cells, so as a whole, I'm pleased to have both of them. They're great lights. I like the other lights that I have down here as well, but these two are solid little performers. Yeah, great light. Weighty in hand. The pocket clip on these, I can't do justice here, but those are stiff and have proven excellent in pocket. And so far so good. I use the medium ND protector on the back, so I still have good access to the light, but at the same time in the pocket my belt buckle, or the edge of my belt for that matter, isn't catching the light, and they're working really well. So there you have it, a quick update and opinion with some comparison to other popular lights. Hope you like it. Cheers.